Yes, it's me, Market Vendor here again today. So I see that in the discussions that have been going on at, a certain place here, the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre, the whole question of intra-Caribbean travel came up. And I see that one of the experts is saying that the governments of the Caribbean have treated with international airlines different to how they treat with the regional airlines. And what I understood from what they were saying is that basically you just get incentives to encourage the international airlines to bring people to the Caribbean, but the same thing don't happen for the Caribbean airlines. No. You see, we got some new players in the market, in particular Inter-Caribbean, stepping up the game, increasing the number of flights, increasing the number of destinations. Inter-Caribbean also bringing some new planes. I went to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in one recently, limited. They're real nice and so on and so forth. But I hope that the same mistake that we make over the years with Leah don't get repeated. Because if 60% sometimes and maybe even higher of the airfare that you and I paying, going in all kinds of taxes that the various governments charging, this security tax, this landing tax, this flying tax, this taxman tax, if you do all of that, you see me Market Vendor and I look at the price of the ticket and all of it, I gain 90 miles and I can pay more money than if I go to New York or if I go to Toronto or even sometimes if you go to London. Look, let me tell you, I can take a little trip up there, go and see the family up in America or in one of them places. You understand? You're going to put a disincentive. So we got to encourage Caribbean people to move out the Caribbean. Because if we moving and spending the money in the Caribbean, it means that we moving and spending the money among ourselves, ain't it now? And Caribbean people love to go on vacations. But if you make the price too high, and if you're blaming the airline, people for that airline charging too much money. And when you check and see how much money the airline actually getting, it's a small fraction of the whole thing. So that can't work. And the same way that we just give incentives to the international airlines, if the number of seats sold does not reach the required optimum level or minimum level, then perhaps we ought to do the same thing with the Caribbean airlines, where fair is fair. The playing field ought to be the level one so that you encourage people from the Caribbean to travel among the Caribbean. You know how many Caribbean people know about New York and Toronto and London and Miami and Atlanta and Washington and all them places and never went to some of the Caribbean islands? Let me tell you, I was only a Market Vendor. I hope that this year will fall on the right ears. You understand? Market gone for now. But you have a blessed and a wonderful day. You hear?